All right, well, I'm not on camera. My name is Tony Kellen. I'm with the Wendell team. So the purpose of this trip is to come up with concept designs for both downtown and for the multimodal out at Crestline and Bob Billings Parkway. So what we really want to do today is we want to hear what's important to you guys. We've got 5 sites downtown. We took a look at them today. They're on Vermont Street and on New Hampshire Street. There's already a few that look probably not workable. So we'll probably get to 3 pretty quickly. But the idea is to have at least, we want to have 3 to 5. 5, I think, is the goal. Slips downtown for boarding. So you got 5 buses at time down there for that transferring. And then obviously the Bob Billings Crestline site is larger. So we're going to have parking, bikes, a number of things out there. So what we want to accomplish today is, I guess, to hear what's important to you guys. Now, obviously the RFP that came out had a list of some things that they wanted to see in there, driver break room, different things at the multimodal downtown. Is a much more limited scope. There's talk of a driver restroom, possibly some type of a security shack. And Adam, if you want to jump in at any time, feel free to do so. But so let's start with, we've got a whiteboard that Anne is running over there. The people that are online can feel free to type questions into the chat box or suggestions. We're just going to capture in real time. And let's start with the multimodal facilities. We have an hour to work with here, and that's a little bit flexible too. We've got some time in between our meetings, but we're literally doing eight stakeholder meetings, and some of these are back-to-back or concurrent. So no idea is a dumb idea, no suggestions is not a good suggestion. We want to hear what folks are thinking about these sites. So let's start with the multimodal. What kind of things have you been thinking about, or what, you've seen this planning going on for quite a while. What do you want to tell us about that site?
Can you provide a little definition of multimodal? What does this mean?
Multimodal just means that it's going to be a waiting area. The multimodal element comes in where there's going to be buses, there's going to be cars, maybe kiss and ride where people can drop off. It might be a mother or father dropping off a high school student to get on the bus, or a college student to go into the campus, that type of thing. So different modes, bikes, could someday be car share in there. I'm not sure, but the vision is wide open right now. Obviously, we have the minimums, but then there's this would be nice elements as well. But multimodal just means multi-modes of transportation, like pedestrian, everything that feeds into there.
Okay, and just for clarification, this all happens at the southeast corner of Chelsea and Bob Billings.
Crestline and Bob Billings. Yes. Yep. And
Crestline goes across the street from there.
It goes south.
Yeah, and there's it's a pretty wide open site. The farthest you go to the west, the steeper the grade. And there's that big south, and then there's a big sign that's already on the property as well. I think we're looking more at the area from where those buildings are to the Crestline site.
The buildings would not be included. So,
depending on what happens with the layout and what all the vision is and how it ends up, it's possible that that multimodal site or the facility and the bus slips, the 10 bus bays, could be right on top of where those buildings are, or they could be over in the corner. We haven't come to any conclusions about how that should be right yet. We're just starting the exploration and design process for that.
We're just starting to build something like this. We have to think of there's a programmatic element, but then there's like the aspect of what you're desiring to see as far as goals, objective, and vision for creating something of a downtown intermodal center that will have this combination of the different amenities that we already provide to the citizens and a good transfer place for all those amenities to come together. So when we talk about something like that ranges around 10 bucks maybe at once, what comes up in your head as far as that should be criteria, what it should include, what's the mission, what to you, what would make that successful when we say this? And what does that include? And everyone's probably got an idea, and that's exactly what we want.
Yeah, go ahead.
Right. My first idea is that if we're pulling that many buses in there and they're leaving at different times, it needs to be able to, so buses can get in and out easily and not get congested with each other, that there's actually enough parking space that
something to talk about is obviously the sawtooth configuration, allowing for that pull in and pull out for each individual bus. The configuration, we don't know with the site, limitations. Is that a shape of a U? Are you going in one direction and then you have to turn around to get out? The grading is going to really give us that path, really. Are you accessing from one end and getting out the other? So yeah, absolutely. First and foremost, that it works for the maneuverability of the bus and the amount of buses at the same time.
And I think one of the...
Yes. Absolutely.
Right. But just and another feedback on your comment there, I think one of our principal goals is that all 10 of those slips or all 5 of those slips downtown, that those bus slots, that you're independently able to enter and depart from those slots with regardless of if another bus is there or not. And that would be referred to as a sawtooth, basically, design that allows you to come in and come out independently on any route.
For the drivers to be able to use the area, we need to be able to have like bathroom facilities that if we use our ID, we can scan to get into, that we don't have to worry about people camping out, living in them or whatever. We need to be able to have a place that we can go 10/7, whatever we need to do.
I think we're like, what do you see when you hear this? What is it? I think we vision as far as element, items, programmatic items, look, objective, like anything. I have not.
I'm from Minnesota.
Minnesota's even worse, but it would be so nice to be able to have the curbside entry and exit from the bus on the south, so that we have sunshine. People get in and out on the sunny side of the street instead of having it facing north with the cold wind blowing in. Just a simple thought. I know it's just a kind of a thought to keep in mind in the design.
Maybe some wind screening.
Wind screening would be good. Sunny side is always
orientation in general is huge for your elements, your weather elements here.
Can I just check too, are people that are on this call able to hear the interaction in the room?
For the most part,
good.
It breaks in every once in a while.
Mitchell, you have a question?
Yeah, I had a quick question.
We can hear you now.
Go ahead, Mitchell.
For those passengers looking to catch either a Greyhound connection or maybe trying to get over to, let's say, Johnson County, are they going to be able to use this multimodal, or is this just strictly for us?
Multimodal is designed to have an intercity connection. Yes.
Okay.
That's one of the goals of it.
Because I know that a lot of passengers ask, hey, where can I catch the right KC bus, or where's the Greyhound? It would be nice to have a one-stop shop for getting around town and intercity.
Yeah, and I can just add to that we have had interactions with Ride KC about the K10 connector. So they'll be joining a call this week as well. I think they are interested in coming in and out of this facility. This will be easier for them, I think, than having to navigate through campus. Might be a more practical way for them to connect in and out of the city. And we do have a Greyhound representative joining us as well. Unclear what their thought will be on if they want to relocate out there, but for them as well, it might be an easier in and out from the highway straight down Iowa. So we'll see what they think, but we did ask the consultant to help us design for 2 commuter bus bays to accommodate those over-the-road coaches, make that connection easier.
Yeah, in the system that I came from, we did have a Greyhound ticketing agency in that facility, but I don't know that that's up in central Minnesota. We had the Greyhound agency right in the transit multimodal.
We don't have the volume of ticket sales to
right.
Them actually staff it.
Right.
So it would literally just be potential days or such for them, and that's it as far as their accommodation. Yep.
Well, in our case, the transit agency actually was the ticketer.
I think currently Greyhound Lights, they're near the library, who can help people print out tickets and things like that. So
right.
It will depend a little on programming for a site. You know, we talked about the potential for a sort of service space or lobby space that we could provide that sort of thing. That might make a difference. They print out a ticket at least during business hours.
Right. Yeah, nowadays I think they have a lot of their own thermal printers, and the technology is pretty simple for ticketing. Okay, other suggestions, questions?
No, I was gonna ask, do we have any proposed diagrams of how they should look?
Not yet.
Nothing?
Getting information to help us narrow down in on the program and the schematic layout of this. That's the next part of this. And it's really important that we do these stakeholder meetings individually, because each group has, when we talk vision, priorities, objectives for this, that we make sure that we're hearing each group loud and clear and not giving them the opportunity to speak individually versus, everyone has different versions. So our job is to help mitigate and bridge this gap. That's what our job is, not anybody else's. So that's why we say anything. We've heard some individuals say, or all we care about, again, you guys are considering the driver, you're considering the maneuverability. That's extremely important for you. But also we've heard things just as much as I like to have a butterfly garden included. Okay. I mean, if that's the point of start these discussions. Is there an ability for a green space for the public? It starts getting these bigger pictures out and that big wish list, and we'll get that together to the next step of what it looks like as a whole.
When you described Sawtooth, is that just kind of a staggered formation all the buses come in at?
It's gonna look basically like a shirt.
Elongated what?
Elongated V. So think about it like a shorter front, and it's at a 60-degree angle. I think it's 60 degrees, not for a second. And a longer back, so you can pull in, kind of angled to the well, back straight with the platform, but you're at an angle pull in. Then you can swoop out. You have that angle in the front of you, so you can pull out without having to back up. Getting out of the roadway. I wish there was.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Sure. It's like another thing I was thinking of, you do Sawtooth, but you can also do a large roundabout. I think with the buses park along the sides and have a central building for everything. I wanted to do it that way.
think one of the constraints to the Bob Billings press line site is going to be the narrowness of it.
So you have that maneuverability of each bus getting out independent of the one in front of it. But you still have that sidewalk and that loading area, which actually is the other way around, right? For the riders. So actually I flipped that because they need to get on the other side of the bus, right? So yeah. Oh, perfect.
So this is, we get down the road, you can see the sawtooth pattern. So each bus has that either kind of describing if they want to. But yeah, allows, so no matter on that bus on top, there's a bus in front or behind of it. It doesn't matter, that bus can get in and out. I'm concerned of a vehicle here or here.
So you would literally pull up to a stop, and then the bus next to you would actually be ahead of you. And you, okay.
You have room to turn out right behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not a diagonal parking. Right. You do not have the backup.
So yeah. Bases like a slight angle like that, and there's buses here, so you just pull out.
Yeah.
See, that'd be the most useful for this type of facility, but same reason you're talking about, like being able to be independent, come in and come out, load, get in, get off, and be out on your way.
It would save on space.
So, what do you want to see in this center as operators? Are there safety people, staff here as well? And okay.
Okay. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
What about an area road supervisors and safety? There's a lot of times that they have to come back here to get certain supplies. What about just a small area for them to finish? So there might be some budget. I'm not going to be able to keep up with the time.
Well, there can be we're getting too much. You don't have your supervisor vehicles. Okay.
So you need three dedicated supervisors about maintenance. You can share 3 spaces. On each cutaway.
So if we have anything problem like that, I can just send the guy to the parts to replace it. So you can just put on the headline, try to transcend what the product is, and find this labor. Instead of chasing around the town. I mean, it doesn't have to be a huge road, just maybe, I don't know.
Hey, Tony, we have a hard time hearing you guys right now.
What do we want to hear? We want to hear the wish list, and then we have the space that we have, the hours that we have, and then we start prioritizing. And
So what would be better for you guys when you have that farm stable standing?
What do we get? I don't know, things like, I don't know, like a road or something like that. Yeah, food truck. We call that a road coach. Station shifts are roll around maybe twice a month, and that's about it. But it, you know, hot food other than what we can take out of here with the microwave. You know?
Yeah. It's not like you're walking across the street to get a hot sandwich.
Yeah, I only get a certain bunch, certain public there.
Yeah.
Well, I know they talk about it navigating as well, or like a machine or business places like that. It's not happening. It's out there. Say, like, what to do, put it out in place like that. I guess enough people going through the area, and part of the go, and unless if you go on the day, they have to run something like sell and just so like microwave coffee box, ice box, things like that you guys can use really quickly. That's 5 minutes.
Honestly, this box availability.
Well, you just gotta have to work on local, right? You know, hey, this is how when everybody's here, can you get this done? And you secure your spot. You might be able to do double duty on that. Or you might have a loading zone. Great loading zone behind the facility. Right. We're probably going to envision some on the parking behind. We like to separate the auto traffic from the bus traffic. So you're not, first thing, water, ice, and everything that you mentioned, I just seen in the car. I used to work, the drivers pick up a collection of all the put it in themselves and reformed it. They bought it. They bought it that bad. No.
Hey, Tony, can you maybe switch to your
My
computer
audio
versus
is still on here. Who are we missing? Not picking up. Can you hear now? How's that sound?
it breaks in about like every other word, and I'm thinking maybe switch to your mic instead of Terrence. It's breaking up really badly. It goes in and out a lot.
Did you guys have any comments that you were trying to get in that conversation that we missed?
We just can't hear what you're talking about, so we're just following the frames. So that's the problem. So it just breaks in and out.
Okay. Sorry, keep using your flag or your hand. You know, you're not able to hear it all.
Okay, so we should talk some about contracts or two. What are your concerns or ideas on that?
Location of its own unique issue, stuff like that.
For sure. And I remember off the top of my head, we talked about a lock driver bathroom, correct? Space. Yes, I think what we're envisioning, or one of our primary goals, would be that it can be a similar sawtooth operation as well, and we're shooting for 5 slots. I think that's kind of the minimum. And we've identified 5 curb city parking lot locations where we can use some of both, possibly some of the street as well, and things that we're looking at. The mission is again to design 3 potential layouts on 1 layout on 3 different locations, and then we're going to prioritize and see what works the best. Some locations may require more parking lot and 2 sides to the sawtooth. Others may work with 5 all on one side, where we do some changes in the street, possibly use some of the parking lot. We haven't pre-judged yet what we're going to do. We just surveyed the site at this point. And we're going to take a look at all those different avenues. But yes. The question is, will the hub at Belllands reduce the traffic downtown? And I think the answer is yes. All the way to the buildings. If that happens, so we have to stop ground. So guessing, but definitely a reduction, but we think it's still any other unique needs for the downtown transport center with the mention that is area just there. I think we're looking for we see a lot of no smoking period. Usually because of insurance.
No, I know that's definitely a really good question. We actually have jurisdictions and operations that it is a very huge necessity, and some that are no not accommodated.
So they say no, you gotta go straight. They can will actually be a proper key for
yeah. Probably good. Kill you. Yeah.
I think when they build the sawtooth there, we gotta have room for yeah, we get a ton of room for that downtown.
One of the other benefits to sawtooth that not only to help with plan and pull it out, and this is why if it takes a lot of room, the most roomy also with that angle creates that cove towards your loading area that gets all of that activity out of the way of the main passage path, because they can kind of come in that little enclosed area. They use that as their waiting and they're loading on and off. And again, same thing. That's not right on the sidewalk per se, when you're doing a parallel pull to the sidewalk. So that's a good benefit, and we try to stick to that when we have the room and the space. Now, again, some of these spaces in downtown might dictate how many we can get sawtooths. Now, if we can get any of all of them in sawtooths, or if we have to go to a different orientation, unfortunately, some of them are limited, right? But, yeah.
You should be able to do it. Designated spots for routes.
Well, the nice thing about a sawtooth is our signage is probably going to be electronic, whether it's down high or up low or, ADA accessible, obviously. But our signage is going to most likely be electronic, so it can change programming.
Like right now, people have a general idea when they're downtown. That's very much what we for spots. And then when you get outside, it's not. That's what
well, terminal, they're going to be hammered onto whatever. Or members or letters, whatever.
But the idea is that they, obviously they'll be signed however they need to be signed, even if it was permanent signs and you needed to open up the cover, take the sign and move it, like in the old days, I mean, we've designed systems where a spot can be two different routes.
You're operationally trying to focus on mitigating inputs. Okay.
Really, now our trend is
So that growth that you're trying to be near, when you say growth, what are you trying to reach or be near? Or what do you see when you say that? Yeah.
It wouldn't be uncommon for somebody to say not next to me.
Yeah, public transit, that's a challenge, right? No one wants to see it, they need it, right? Want it. And established and ready for the disruption.
Yeah, so I think we were talking this morning about this. Just the design elements at the downtown transfer center are going to be different than what you could have the multimodal, just because of the number of interactions there's going to be going on down there. But
one's on KU campus, one's downtown Lawrence. So I mean, you have two different avenues, visions, goals, right? So when you think about those two in comparison, is there anything that sticks out of what just screams one or the other? And it can be even just like your vision when we say that this is coming, like what does that picture look like? And what are the differences between those two? Okay.
stops. Don't have lighting downtown. I'm sure this facility will have good lighting, but a lot of shelters that you don't have that lighting and security. I think that would be really important. They live for a few hours after our meeting. Right after. They don't get rained on.
Over 30 years, so more time. So, yes,
Some of the things we've included in our, so when you say that, could you back off that? So that could be different. Well, it's one of the things to talk about with lighting. We've done in certain facilities, I'm thinking of CAT, where the canopies themselves had distinctive, not only shape, but lighting features where they could change the color of the lights for the holiday. It was green for St. Patrick's Day. It was, red and green for Christmas. And they used that. That's what they do. The canopies and the lighting, they use that to highlight the location. So you can do it in a lot of ways. And lighting is one of the kind of other ideas or things that strike when you see or think of that facility. No idea is a bad idea.
Events that are going on in town, occurring. General information or
Okay, so community event kind of.
Yeah. Yeah, just another big sign like they do down at the Lead Center, for the Lead Center there on Iowa and 15th. They get that big sign that, this is when the shows are and stuff like that. Something like that down there. Who knows? Maybe even get the KU art students in on some design help too.
Well, there is an art element that we're building into the intermodal, the multimodal. There's going to be public art, some type of a public art element to it, fairly significant.
Have you got an architecture firm already planned?
We are the
architect. Yeah. So. No, and this is the gathering, right? So the information creates the program, which helps create the overall 2D planning. From there, we take that and influence that into what it could look like. But right now, we just got to at least get what the needs and necessities are and get them fit on the site. And then we can always play with making it look pretty, as I like to say, and it can take as many different shapes and forms. And that's kind of like the next iteration. This is the beginning feet on the ground part where we get the initial information correct to go from here to the next phase.
Well, are there historical and cultural things that you want to remember or celebrate in the facility?
It might be different, again, in each location.
Great story about the history of transit Lawrence. Yep, streetcars here and progress that went down Mass Street. I think there's potential to better reflect on history, I guess.
I don't know, is there anything historical that's happened at the site itself that we're building?
Well, we'd have to look into, yeah.
It's a couple blocks away from the cemetery.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's a little
Nothing says more like activity like a cemetery, right?
Especially in old.
Awesome. Well, yeah, and then, you know, again, is there anything, I kind of think that you had hit on it a little bit earlier about activating the area and looking as a positive influence. Like when you think of it as far as goals too, like what do you want this to do, like for you and the community and that connection with you and your ridership? Is there anything else that we haven't touched on? Or maybe a negative thought or feedback that you hear from your riders that you would hope that the facility can at least somewhat attack? Anything that we haven't brought up in that manner, maybe?
I can see a change machine.
Change
Off the top of
machine.
my head, you know, some people come up, they only have 20, you know, and break it. It's easy to give a proper bath.
Or like, well, a counter where people can actually buy bus tickets and all the
Machine.
accoutrements.
Like a kiosk machine?
Yeah. Like that.
Because frequently we're asked, where do I go to get a bus pass? You know, and then it's, well, try to get there for them when they're using the bus system. So a lot of times I just stick to cash.
We can stick the lost and found down there.
Everybody needs a lost and found.
Especially when you have different modes of transportation coming together.
Camera, security system, stuff like that. A couple other transit centers they were talking about, we can like put a press button on the doors, whatever they do, the kids. So that was in Kansas City, yeah. Yeah, they have something coming up. Yeah, like the lockdown, yeah, they can shut all the doors at once. I don't know what they press, but
Right. Was that for some sort of a mass kind of incident, or mass casualty incident or something, maybe?
You can also do the same thing.
Right. Okay.
I think with this nice center like that here, it would be nice to have some really good security system. You know, definitely going to be a lot of traffic there, and you know, you guys know more than I do. What are you doing?
You know, I think
Like phones on site, emergency phones.
Yeah, we just get on the highway.
Phones almost stuff like that. I don't know.
They have cameras on multiple angles, and then also you would have a roaming officer. And then they would have, I guess, classical music kind of dissuade people from acting out or violence or whatever. But the biggest issues were bathrooms, cleanliness, and like parking and then signage. Because a lot of it was still automated, or maybe not automated, analog. But each area was designated for a certain amount of routes. And we don't have in case they're backed up, they whatever various apps. Like he was saying, the bus pass is a great idea. It's inconvenience. I rode transit for a couple of years. And your biggest challenge is, well, sometimes the system goes down as our tablets do, but then you also want to make sure that you have somewhere that your customers can pay for it right there, and then it can possibly work between agencies, you know, different counties, different cities, what have you. I know there's only two here, but you know, you're going to get on the KC line and go out there. Well, you want to make sure it's, that's something you ever plan on upgrading to. It's like a single like bus pass. It's actually electronic. Okay.
When you talk about security, is it plan to have just rely on your staff to we've seen both ways. Okay, you maybe kick in with that if it is on their campus. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, the next door.
Yeah.
How it works out. Okay.
I think it would be, I mean, especially downtown. Operators, especially when it gets to the nighttime hours, there's a lot of activity in our current location. How do you all feel about security?
Well, it would be good considering, sometimes we've had to deal with what we call code 4 minuses and pluses. And a lot of the time lately, we haven't had supervisors to be able to handle it downtown because they're up on other routes driving and whatnot. And so you don't even really bother calling it in because
by the time it's called in, not like
it's just not worth the hassle of dealing with it.
Okay.
That, and it's also good because sometimes you'll get customers that just want to talk to someone in a supervisory position, and even if it's like a transit cop or something like that, and if they're knowledgeable about help the customer. Free up our road.
All right. Time-wise, we're gonna have to wrap, but feel free if you want to make any other suggestions or other things that come to your mind. I know we're only here till noon on Thursday, but there's also email. If you want to, Ginger, are you okay getting written suggestions or whatever? And just forwarding along to us, anybody that has opportunities to do that. I'm going to try to look at the schedule tomorrow and be out here between that 11 to 1-ish time frame when there's a lot of drivers coming and going during the swing. So and if I'm not here, April may also come out, depending on, I have to look at what the content of the other meetings are. I haven't actually looked ahead to tomorrow yet.
Does anybody online have any other questions before we wrap up?
Okay, with that, thanks, folks, and we'll call it a wrap.